Now the next step, we've waited about 12 hours or so, and you can see how these grains are nice and plump and they fill up the jar. And sometimes you have to refill the water in your jar. And with bread grains and that kind of thing, you can just use plain water to remove the phytic acid. If you're seeking to soak off that phytic acid from oat groats or from rice, then you want to add a little bit of acid-based acidulated water like fresh lemon juice or a good healthy yogurt or vinegar, a little bit of vinegar, and that is what will remove the phytic acid. They need a little extra help for oat groats and rice, brown rice. But with bread grains, water is the only thing you need. So, okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take this jar and we're going to pour it into this colander. You need a colander that has a metal screen in the bottom of it, so obviously so that your grains don't fall through and go down your drain. So we have this wonderful collapsible colander that does the trick. So we're going to start now by taking our jar and pouring it into the sink, and you'll see this white milky substance going down the drain, and that's that phytic acid that we're going to wash away. We're going to pour the grains in there and rinse them off, and then we're going to start layering them into our dehydrator trays here. So here we go. We got our gallon jug here, and we're going to just start by pouring our grains in there. And then you need to rinse them off. And I just get a real good rinse on them here. And then sometimes your grains become impacted in the jar, so I just use my hose to loosen them up and make sure most of the water is drained off. Okay, now this is the step that takes the time, because it takes a few minutes to rinse off the grains and then get them into the dehydrator. But I just kind of spread the grains out in the dehydrator trays. And the dehydrator that we use is the Liquip Filter Pro, and it's wonderful. All 6 screens that come with the Filter Pro have a mesh screen in each tray. And so you can see that the grains do not fall through the trays. And so we just put a nice thick layer into each tray, and 6 trays will work. Okay, here we go for a second batch into the colander. Loosen up some more grains with the hose and rinse these off. All right, here we go with the second batch of grains. Fill up the tray here. I try to get a nice thick layer onto each tray. And it dehydrates very nicely. It only takes about 8 hours in my dehydrator to do the whole batch of grains. You have to coax them out. The farther down it goes, you have to coax them out a little bit more each time. Some people like to take a long wooden spoon and stir the grains up when you first start soaking them. If you do that, they settle down farther in the jar and become more compact. And so then it's harder for them to come out. So I just fill the jar up with water and leave it there. I don't touch it. I don't stir it down at all. Okay, here we go. I'm going to rinse these off. Now we've gotten down to the kamut. There's the longer grain in there. Here's batch number 3. Now, another thing that you can soak in dehydrate are your beans before you cook those. And I learned the hard way with beans that you really only want to put them about halfway up your jar because they really expand. You know, maybe about that much beans in a jar as they really expand, and they are very hard to get out of there. Okay, here's the last grains for the last tray. Okay, here we go. Tray number 6 getting filled up. And you notice that I do all of the rinsing and the stacking before I put it on the base. That's just so in case some water spills or something, it doesn't go down into your motor. But here's our lid. I really love this Filter Pro dehydrator. It has a retractable cord. Well, first of all, it has a filter in the back of it. So as your air is circulating throughout your dehydrator, it's cleaning your air. If there's animal debris in the air, then this will filter all that out. And it's a nice retractable cord. And we turn it on. And we have an hour dial here. So I set it for 8 hours. And at 120 degrees. And now we can just forget about it again, because in 8 hours it will turn itself off and those grains will be nice and toasty and dry. You will not even know that you did anything to them. They look the same. But we use 120 degrees because it's still considered raw, and the 8 hours does the trick. You notice how nice and quiet the machine is, and also it has a smart chip in the motor part, so it monitors the temperature 3 times a second, and so there will be no surges and releases of your power flow with this dehydrator. It's just a nice steady stream, and it does a great job with grains. And I know I have customers that have done jerky with it, and pasta, and crackers, and my other favorite thing to do is pineapple in here. You just haven't tasted wonderful pineapple until you've sliced up some and dehydrated it. So anyway, this is step number 3, the end of it, which just probably took us, this part usually takes me about 10 minutes or so to load up my trays. And then the last part is pouring it from the trays into a bowl and getting it ready to put in your jar. So there we go. This is the end of step 3.